Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's weekly options watch list. Hopefully you all had a wonderful weekend and are excited to get to trading here come Monday. So before I get into the 5 plays I'm looking at for the upcoming week, I want to do a quick market breakdown of the ES futures here to see where we could potentially go this upcoming week. So let's get into it. So if we zoom in here on the ES, we can see that we are finally starting to reclaim this 21 EMA, which is very nice to see. That means that the trend potentially could be shifting and losing some of that bearish momentum. We also can see that we have this nice daily squeeze with nice bullish momentum, and with price above that 21 EMA now, I will be looking for this to continue to fire to that upside unless we lose that 21 EMA. So this level here for this upcoming week will be crucial if you can hold that and we can see another push higher, or if we just fall right back down below it. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here on the daily chart. Let's go to the weekly. So if we zoom in here on the weekly, this is the first week that we've actually closed above the weekly 8 EMA since, where was the last time we were above it here? It was, what is that, April? So it's been a few months now that we've been trading well below the 8 EMA or right at it and continually rejecting it. So this is the first week since then that we've actually closed above it. And we also are getting this first yellow bar on the histogram, which means that the bearishness is starting to lose its strength and we should start to get a full reversion back to the weekly mean or the weekly 21 EMA, which is right here. So that's kind of what I'm looking for this week, is to see if we can get another push higher where we can test that level, and then I want to see how this market reacts to that level if we immediately reject it, or if we can actually surpass that and get a weekly close above that level. That will look really good for this market to break its downtrend and potentially start making higher highs on this market. So that's kind of what I'm watching here on the ES. Both are just the 21 EMAs, just on different time frames, but I will be definitely keeping my eyes close on those this upcoming week. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into the 5 plays I'm looking at. First one here is going to be Pepsi to the upside. So we have positively stacked EMAs. We're in an acceleration stage, and price action here has been holding this 21 EMA perfectly, especially since yesterday we had the market kind of sell off a little bit. Pepsi held up perfectly. All it had to do was revert back down to the 21 and then kind of bounced off that level. We also can see here previously we held here, 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 here. It's been holding this level just beautifully the last few weeks here, and I think that it will continue to do that. And as we see, we have this daily squeeze starting to form. And if we continue to hold that 21 EMA, I think that the squeeze will eventually start to push it back higher to the upside. So Pepsi, in my opinion, is a really good one to the upside. Next one here is Spirit Airlines. This one also has a very nice trend here. We've been holding that 21 EMA just like Pepsi here for a while now, and I like that every time you kind of touch it, you get these quick rejections back up to the upside, and we get the quick rejection back here up to the upside. We do have our stacked EMAs. This one also has an acceleration stage, similar to Pepsi. We do have these darker blue bars, but I think this will start to roll over with its structure looking nice and bullish, and it should give it a next push higher. So Spirit Airlines and Pepsi are two of my favorite ones here to the upside, and they both have very solid structure, very similar structure, but they both do look good to the long side. Next one here is UNH. This one is kind of a similar story to the other ones, where it's been kind of holding the 21 EMA, had a little break here, and then it looked like it was maybe going to get a rejection here to the downside, maybe starting a downtrend, but then it got the large gap up and has been holding it ever since. The only thing I'm weary about is that there is a gap here to fill to the downside, but its overall structure is still bullish. Ideally want to see it come retest that 21 EMA for an entry, but it still does look solid in my opinion to the upside with its stacked EMAs, and it is starting to form this new daily squeeze with its histogram above that zero line. Ideally would like to see this one kind of play out a few more days just to see if we could get that reversion back down here to that 21 EMA, which would be our ideal entry. Alrighty, next one here, we have Valero Energy. This one I'm actually looking to short on. So we have the big push here, very large flush, almost basically get the reversion to the mean here. Flush again, couldn't even get past the 8 EMA, flush again, and now finally we're getting back up here to the 21 EMA, and so far it has rejected it 3 times. So we have these 3 candles where it's rejected it, and then it fell here. So we do have a gap that was formed, and ideally want to see that gap get filled or even a retest of this 21 EMA, and I think those would be a good entry for to the short side on this one, due to us having a daily squeeze with a histogram below that zero line, and it is looking like it wants to roll over to the downside, giving us more bearish momentum here on Valero. So this one, in my opinion, looks very solid to the downside. And then last but not least here, we have Exxon Mobil. So similar due to it being an energy stock as Valero, but its structure is a little bit different. We do still have the large flush, reversion, flush, and then we're getting this reversion again. It did have 2 closes above the 21 EMA, but I do still think that its path of least resistance right now is to the downside. We have no stacked DMAs. We're in a deceleration stage, and it looks like we also have a gap that needs to be filled here around 85-ish dollars. So I think that this squeeze could easily help it propel it down to that level and then even farther, as each time it's gotten this reversion, it's kind of been falling to that -2. So my ideal target would be that -2 ATR level here on the daily chart. So these are the 5 stocks I'm looking at for the upcoming week. Hopefully it gives you all a few other stocks to add to your watch list as well. And let's go out there on Monday and start making some money, everybody.